Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Um, I was going to do this as a short episode, might actually do it as a long one because Mike is recovering from shoulder surgery, and it's been fun so far. So, anyways, and I can edit this out if I need to. Um, but we actually have a
Mhm.
fascinating guest today. She has done a lot of different things. I'll say right up front, but then we'll go back and it will come back around to it. But she is mainly on right now because she's getting ready to do a Kickstarter for her um, comic graphic novel that's based on her podcast that she writes and acts in and directs and produces and all that stuff. Um, and
All the things.
yeah, all the things, and which is great for her because she's been involved in a lot of those different areas. So yeah, it's kind of like the same way for me that it gets me able to do all the different things that I'm enjoying to do, but then also you have to fight the wanting to control everything
Oh,
as
100%, yeah.
aspect.
Uh,
But yeah, let's yeah, if you like fantasy stuff and you like supporting indie comics, which we always encourage people to do, it's gonna be on Kickstarter probably when this airs is probably gonna be around the right. What date is the first day?
April 3rd,
April
so this
3rd.
coming Monday.
Yeah, so this will actually
Mhm.
this will probably air like 2 days after, which is good because you always need the
Yeah.
bump. That first day you get huge and then everything starts to drop from there. But so yeah, hopefully get some more people interested. Definitely check it out. And if you want to check out the podcast too, they I guess you released all of season two now too,
Yep.
right? So you have
Mhm.
season one and season two.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll go back to the beginning, when she was a little nerd. Um and so what was your I know you've done some acting and writing and all that stuff. What was your first like thing that you started doing as far as like creatively? Was it acting before you started writing your own stuff?
Yeah, so definitely been in acting pretty much all of my life. I like to say that my first role in acting was I played baby Jesus in a Christmas play the year I was born.
That's
So,
funny.
I like to say that's when it started. And then, yeah, we would do, like, family plays where we do a lot of family, um, stuff where we would read a story and then we'd act it out, and we'd film it, and then we'd watch it all together. And we did that a ton growing up, and every year, one of our Christmas traditions was we would do the nativity story every Christmas Eve, and
Oh,
we'd do
cool.
different themes and stuff, but we'd always film it, and then we'd watch it before
Right.
Christmas. So, I've been doing that, and then obviously I've been in, indie film and also a ton of theater stuff. So probably when I started writing, so I was homeschooled and my mom did a lot of creative projects with us in
Yeah.
that. And I think that's probably where writing came from and the idea of like being able to get into it more. Um, so I remember writing like little animal stories,
Yeah.
um, like fifth or sixth grade probably. And then just kind of went from there, I guess. And
Yeah.
yeah, published my first book when I was 16. Um, and then another book the next year when I was 17, and then I took a 6-year break and then I got back into it in 2020.
Yeah.
So,
So you didn't have anything else to do. No.
yeah,
Everything shuts down. Um,
exactly, right?
um, yeah, well, right before that, you did. I know you were doing a lot of voice acting
Mhm,
and for audiobooks and everything else.
mhm.
And I know what was it 2019 that you were trying to do 100 in a year, or was it like 2018?
I think it was either 2019 or 2020. Yeah,
Yeah,
2020 was my like I'm gonna go for everything and just do it.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah.
You got pretty, but you got, she did,
I
okay,
got pretty
she did,
close.
she
Yeah.
got pretty close. She did not
Um,
hit 100. I mean, when you think about it, yeah, that's a lot. And
that's a
obviously
lot.
there's some that are longer and some that are shorter. What was the like longest one you did as part of that?
As part of that, probably only 8 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
The longest one I've done was like 16 hours, but that wasn't during
Well, I wasn't during that
that stint.
that psycho challenge to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, how far did you get to, what was
Oh,
it?
I think I
80
was in the
something? You were
I
70?
think I was just 70s, but
Yeah. That's
yeah.
still
That's still pretty close.
That's still a lot when
Yeah.
you look at like how many weeks there are in the year and and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's a lot of it's a lot of
Long.
commitment to do that. But I mean,
Mhm.
I think it's great. I think and all of them were done. I think all of them are done under Trista Shay, right?
Yep.
So
Mhm.
like if people wanted to try to find any of them on Audible or anywhere, they could
Yep.
probably,
Just can look up Trista Shay and all of those should pop up.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she's done a lot, and she's very good and very versatile with her voice, and like she said, because she's been acting so long, um,
Mhm.
and yeah, one of the things that I love that she does, is, and that I try to tell other people to do with the voice acting, is to like get your face into it and really make your face, because it really
Mhm.
comes through in what you did. And it's like, and I let and it's funny, I know she thinks I'm kind of like teasing her when I'll say stuff, because she really like gets her like nose crinkled up and like all these just
Mhm.
to get the different like character and different stuff through. But it's like for voice acting, it definitely comes through. It just,
Mhm.
otherwise it just if you don't get your face into it, it just sounds like you're reading. I mean, which is what you are doing, but
Mhm. Yeah, pretty
but
much.
yeah, to actually get the acting stuff to come across, you definitely have to get your face into it and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So,
It's
um,
funny how many times I'll be like doing an audiobook and I'll read a character's line and I do all my audiobooks, I dry read them, so I don't
yeah,
read them before I record. I just record them.
that's
And
cool.
it's funny how many times I'll do an action or I'll like crinkle my face up or something and then the next like description narration is like they did exactly what I did for the line
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah.
cool. Nailed it." Like
She's like, I'm in
yeah.
the zone, but
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, so that's one of the things that I guess I like, that she's so like into that side, but she's also into, because I know, I mean, yeah, from what I know, she's been reading most of her life too, and she's really into that
Mhm.
side. And that's, I mean, for a lot of people, that's a great way to learn how to write and stuff too. And there's a lot of people
Mhm.
that don't even really like to read books much, but they're like, I'd like to write a book in my life or whatever. And it's like, you really should
Gotta
read, or
read
maybe do
first.
something
Yeah.
you're interested
Mhm.
in, or at least try to find something that it kind of fits that you actually do enjoy, so you understand what you're doing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I like, yeah, I was really, when we were getting, so she auditioned for one of the roles in Randoms, which is the shirt she has, which is part of the
Yeah.
Supersonic universe. And and she was in, so she was in that. And then I know from just like talking to her and other people, that we needed people for other roles and stuff, so I asked her to play an old mom, and she did great in in her role. But I mean, that's, when you do a lot of acting, you get used to, and when you do, especially with doing voice acting, because you got to do all the different voices, and she does really
Mhm.
great at that. And she's good at directing other people in that. And yeah, but then, yeah, just the more I got to know Trista, I'm like, oh man, this is like, she's like my, and this is funny because I do have a little sister who is an author.
Okay.
But I was like, it's like she's like my little sister, because there's so many things that we have in common. And now, especially through Supersonic, um,
Mhm.
man, I've met so many males and females that kind of like, share like similar things. And like, like understand like their creative stuff and how it kind of drives them when they can't do all the different creative things that they want to do and that they have ideas for. And um, so yeah, so that's why I tried to um, be involved and kind of help her, and she started to help me, and she's doing yeah, I actually wanted to bring this up early because I know there's a couple of people that really like the Sithra podcast that we're
Oh
doing
yeah.
based on Jason Brubaker's comic, and that Trista has the lead role in. And she's done a great job on that, and especially crinkling her nose and stuff like that. That the main character Vana is a
Yeah.
young girl, and she's very expressive, and it's funny, I like the guys and stuff, like they all like it, but it's like when I've talked to females and stuff that'll listen to it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I love Vana," and like
Aw.
and they're like they're like so into her character, and like they like connect with her, and that she's just like and it's kind of like they want to they're kind of like wanting to see what kind of trouble she'll get into next or something. But it's just like,
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh, I was so like that when I was a little girl and everything, and it's just like they really get into it. So it's like really, I don't know, it's cool. I like that stuff. I like not that things can't have males and females, but it's
Hmm.
nice when you have both in things, because you have different things that people can relate to.
Relate to,
um
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
so yes, so she has done a lot of writing too. She has several novels out. I know you have Stupid Cat series.
Yeah.
Is big the barn cat or
Being the barn
whatever.
cat. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, which is and I know you like she likes writing stuff for kids and things, and
Hmm.
gearing stuff like that, like for YA
Hmm.
and younger. So but I guess, yeah, it's like tell me a little bit about that, about your other book, about your books and stuff. And
Yeah. So I've got, yep, the Being the Barn Cat series. It's got 4 books out right now. Book 5 is coming out in May, and then the first big collection, which is books 1 through 5, like bundled together, is also going to be coming out in May. And then and yeah, those are like middle grade chapter books. Um,
right.
and then I have Ranger, which is like my
Fe-
take on the Lone Ranger.
yeah,
Uh,
female Lone Ranger story,
yep.
kind of.
And that one's probably like 12 and up YA.
Yeah,
And then I have the first book in a 5 book series, The Guardian Elf Scrolls. The first book is called Quest for the Swords of Healing. That one is like upper middle grade, lower YA.
yeah,
And then I have also Diana Alderroot and the Gilded Mage, which is
that's
upper MG.
yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, I think they all okay. Diana and Ranger were supposed to be standalones, but then people were like, we want more in this world. So Ranger's
Right.
gonna get a sequel eventually at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Diana is gonna have 2 other books, so it'll be a trilogy.
Oh, cool,
Eventually. Yeah.
cool.
So
Cool. And yeah, and we are working on a Nemo the Lad book, which
yep, we are.
we were
Hmm.
I think we were thinking about doing them as a trilogy, but we're both so busy that I think, and we can't stand each other. So
Yeah.
I think we were like, one is enough. It's like,
One and done.
well,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, we're not too
yep.
far. We're not too far from that.
Hmm.
And she's almost done with her part, but yeah, she has all this stuff on her plate, and obviously like and I like her, just like anybody, I like them being able to focus on the stuff that they want to do and everything too, and not necessarily just stuff that I've created or whatever. Which is like terrible, because I have like the Pistol Fist like anthology and some like other things, and I just don't. Yeah, like I'll feel guilty trying to push people into it's
Don't
like,
have a
don't
deadline.
don't
Yeah.
don't forget, you guys,
Right.
because because I know what it's like for the creative people. That it's like, because you're always going to be most passionate about like what you create
Mhm.
and stuff. But I do think it's interesting that now they're so are you saying that those worlds are connecting at all, or just that you're expanding more
Just
of those
expanding
worlds?
this
Yeah,
series.
those
Yeah.
those
Yep.
yeah. Okay, okay, cool. So the cool thing that she did with Ezmeer is she kind of brought it back to like families and friends doing it, which some people have done podcasts and things like that, like out of necessity, um, just because they don't know anybody else and they haven't like met any other like actors or anything like that. So they'll
Mhm.
kind of do that out of necessity. But this was, I did think it was cool that like she did this intentionally because she actually knows a lot of other voice actors and things now, but she's like, "Ah, I want to do this. I want to write this thing and then do it with my family and friends." And um, I thought it was really cool because it's definitely, I don't know, just makes it more sentimental and more,
Mhm.
I don't know. But and then you get to yell at your family and friends too, so
Exactly. Yeah.
that's fun. You get to control them all. So like how did that go, and as far as like when you were telling everybody you wanted them to be involved and telling them your idea, and then like how it's going, it must be going like decently since you have 2 seasons out now.
Since we have 2 seasons, yeah. So it started out in 2021 on Facebook. I got some memories in March that like
Yeah,
so many years ago, we had done a film together or whatever.
right,
And I was
right.
like, oh, I miss those times, like I miss you all, but life has just gotten busy and we're so like a bunch of us
Yeah,
have kids. I have a cat kid anyway.
yeah,
Yep. And so, things just got busy and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to do something that could like be easier so it won't take as much time as a film,
yeah,
but we can still connect and make those memories again? And so I was like, hey, what if I wrote a podcast? Would you guys be interested? And they were all like, yes, 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 we want to do it. So I was like, okay, now I actually have to write the thing. So I actually had them create their own characters.
oh cool,
Um, I told them not to be super specific in their background so that I had more
right,
like ebb and flow with what I can create. So I had them make their characters, and then I created the world around their characters, and then made the story around their characters as well. Um, and it's been going well. I have to say, I think it would actually be easier to direct people that you don't know, to be
right,
quite honest,
yep,
because you know these people, they're your friends and your family. You don't want to hurt their feelings. And so
right,
I find myself being like, yes, okay, I can make one of those work. Or like something like that more often than I probably should. And instead of being like, okay, I need another take of this or, like something
yeah,
like that. But
yep,
it's still cool because yeah, again, we get to connect again and we haven't been able to for a while. And so it brings the group back together, and it gives us something to talk about and it gives us memories. And I think it's a lot of fun in that way. Um, yeah. So one of the things I most enjoy about it is after I write the season, I'll have the scripts printed and then we'll do a big get together and we'll read through it together for the first time.
oh
And
wow, yeah,
it's kind of for me more than anything because I'm like I selfishly want to see how you all react to it the first time you read it.
right,
And so it's really fun, like we all laugh and we're all like, "Oh my gosh," like. So
yeah,
it's a great time, but that's probably one of
yeah.
my favorite parts is
That's
getting to do that.
cool.
So
Do you guys film that at all or anything when you
we
do those?
don't. I have
Yeah, I mean,
considered
that's
doing
cool.
something. It would be fun to like just set up a camera and just like film the process.
Yeah.
But
I just know, yeah, as more people discover the podcast and listen to it, they would probably enjoy something like that. But at the same time, too,
mhm.
everything is so much online now. It's kind of nice to just have private stuff, especially when you're doing it like that with family and friends and
Mhm.
stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, but it's so what's been like their feedback to the comic idea and like how their characters will look on the page and stuff?
Uh, I think most of them are pretty excited. Some of them I just haven't heard from because they're really busy, so they don't
Right.
really pay
Yeah.
too much attention. And it's like it doesn't super involve them because
Right.
I'm putting it all together and doing everything. So like, they're not super involved in the process, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty excited. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a couple people have been like, uh, the girl who plays Jessamine, my friend, she was like, "So are these the final?" Like I was putting up teasers for the pages. She's like, "Are these
Right.
the final pages? Cause like my eyes aren't the right color." I'm like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay. I'm getting that fixed."
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
I did notice that. She's like, "Okay, okay, good. I really like them, but I just had to make sure." Like I was like, "Yep, okay." So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
That's
I'm
cool.
really
That's
excited
cool.
because like I think it will be really cool. Like there's a lot to explore in Ezmeer, and I think it's really cool to do it in an audio format, but I think
Right.
there's it's such a big world that there's so much visually that I think will be really cool to see
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
graphic novel format. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, yeah. Just like fantasy and sci-fi, like you'll have just cool settings or cool um I don't know, just events or whatever that
mhm,
will happen or creatures or whatever. And
mhm.
yeah, I mean that's when the visual kind of helps a little more to do it. But yeah, that's cool though. And so I know how did you find your the artists and stuff? Because I do she
Uh,
has a very good artist for it, in my
yeah,
opinion.
he's really talented. Um, so I was actually like, I have been thinking about doing a graphic novel for probably about a year or more now. I had considered, I was like, I want to do another format of this because there are people who I know who would enjoy it who don't listen to podcasts. I've
Right.
had people tell me that, like, I don't listen to podcasts, but I know it. So I
Yep.
wanted to find something that would be able to reach those people. And I thought about doing novels, but then Jonathan, my husband, he was like, I feel like it would best translate into a graphic novel if you were going to do something different. I was like, okay. So I latch onto
Oh,
ideas very
cool.
quickly,
Wow.
and yeah, I try to make them happen all the time. So I was like, all right,
Yeah.
we're gonna do a graphic novel, sure. Um, so I've been thinking about it for a while and like kind of just perusing. I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups for like cover artists and different artists like that.
Hmm.
But actually, how I found this guy was Facebook actually suggested a group to me, and I
Oh, cool.
usually hate it when they like
Right.
because it's
Oh,
like an
yeah.
ad, and I'm
It's like,
like, I just want to
no,
see
I
what I'm
don't want to
in.
join that
I
group.
know. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But they were like, it was like connecting comic creators and authors and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I was just scrolling through there, like looking for people, and he had posted, he's like, I'm looking for, another client, and like these are some of my samples, and this is what I charge. And it was really straightforward because he told me all the information I needed, and he was like, I
Right.
can do a test page for free. I was like, that's perfect, like, because I
Yeah.
need to know if you can capture what I'm looking for. um, so yeah, and then I reached out to him, and so he does the line art and the inking, and he also does the text, the lettering, and then his brother actually does the coloring.
Oh, cool.
So both of them are working on it together, so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're just doing it if they don't live that close or whatever.
Mhm.
But still, I mean, if it's brothers, they still have some kind of synergy going on there, and they understand what each other's saying, and he
Mhm.
can help communicate to the other
Yeah.
one what you want and everything. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's cool though. But yeah, he's a good, and I came in. I know he had won some awards or been nominated for some. Like I know that I had like seen his stuff before too, and I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is good, and it's a great fit for her style that is sort of YA. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and this kind of thing. I mean, it does work well. Fantasy, especially fantasy, does work well in graphic novel form. Um,
Mhm.
See, it's funny because I've been in the comic industry for about 16 years now, and it's like, man, it is hard to do a successful fantasy comic. And I think
Mhm.
just it. I mean, there have been a few, but not many over that time. And I think it's just because you don't get the epic nature of a fantasy story when
This
it's
is
chopped up
true.
into such a small, short thing. And then two, it's just really weird because like you don't get Even though I think this is kind of a nice balance because it kind of is like it's like a lot of the better YA graphic novels where it's like it's a little bit anime-ish, but it's a little just kind of regular cartoony
Mhm.
kind of
Mhm.
flavor and everything too, and so it has that nice like but like that style doesn't necessarily sell that great in the comic market. So it's just
Mhm.
that's just another thing that it's tough because when people do more fantasy stuff where it's like really painted and all this other stuff like
Mhm.
that doesn't tend to do as well, and it
Right.
takes so much longer to paint. And it's
Mhm.
just like there's just so many things like that. I mean, there's some really good stuff, but it's like yeah, it's just a tough format, and that's why I do like definitely for fantasy for graphic novels is such a good, and especially
Mhm.
because like one of the things that I did when I've done some stuff is that it gives you the chance to for when you have a bunch of pages, it gives you time to be able to have like big wide shots and stuff.
Mhm.
Like you have the pages to do that, to show it's like this big kingdom or this big
Mhm.
landscape or whatever, and it's like, and that just which you just don't doing a normal comic because you just don't have the
Right.
pages that you can
Right.
use for that. So yeah, so that's why I think it's going to be great. Do you have any details about the like rewards and things like that for the Kickstarter?
Yeah, so for the what we're gonna do is I originally was gonna like try and kickstart the entire thing. Like,
Right,
so there are 10 episodes in every season, and I want to do the first season, so there's 10 episodes or chapters.
right,
Um, and I have not gone through the entire thing and scripted it for the graphic novel,
right,
but as it's going, it seems like the majority of the episodes will be 25 pages at least.
right,
Um, and so I was like, okay, that's around so many pages finished, and this is
right,
how much it's gonna be. And it was just a large amount of money to try and raise all
right.
at once. So I was like, okay. And I talked to you about it because I was like, you've done these things before, like, what's your
Yeah,
opinion? And just try to pick your brain a little bit. And so what we're gonna try and do is run a Kickstarter campaign for every chapter/episode, and try and do it that way because it's a smaller amount. And so we're also going to try to keep most of the rewards digital for that. And then once we have compiled the entire thing, we're going to run another Kickstarter that'll be for the more physical rewards, like the entire graphic novel. And we'll try to keep the prices lower so that more people can get those physical rewards.
yeah,
Um, we are offering a couple physical rewards, but it's for a much higher price point than
right,
I don't know if anybody is actually going to go for those or not.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so the majority of what is going to be for this Kickstarter and for the rest of them will probably be digital to start with, just so we can keep the cost of everything down and still produce the product um, well, I guess.
right, yeah, yeah. What's the end date for it? Do you know?
It's running for 30 days.
Okay,
So, yep, March, June, April. Yeah,
so it'll be April
May
33rd.
3rd. April 33rd, yes. Oh, like, what is that? I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
So what is yeah, so definitely go and support that. So what is it what is Trista's dream goal beyond this? Like would you want to like write and direct a movie? Would you want to do
Yeah.
video games?
I've thought a lot about that. Okay, so, like, in just voice acting, I
Yeah,
would love to get into voicing for animated TV shows and for
yeah,
TV, like movies and stuff like that. That's my dream. I
yeah,
love doing audiobooks, but I prefer being able to do just one character or two. Like, if I can do just a couple, I can get into them more, it feels like,
right,
because
yeah,
in audiobooks, your cast can range very widely, and you have to figure out, you have to do your voices for all of them, and you're switching,
yeah.
and it's good, and I enjoy it, and it stretches me, but I think,
You
I don't
have
know,
to be kind of
I feel like,
schizophrenic.
yeah, a little bit, and I feel
Yeah,
like I can just deliver. a better performance when I'm only concentrating on a couple characters or
Right,
just
right.
one. And so
Yeah,
I enjoy that because then I can enjoy what I'm doing and I can listen to it and be like, "Oh yeah, that was actually pretty good," instead of like, "Oh, could have done that better, could have done that better," you know? Um, but so I think that would be something I would love to do in voiceover is to get into that. I have thought about being able to write and direct and produce and act in a movie of some kind. I would
right.
really love to see what that would be like. I'm
Yeah,
definitely open to that. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like I always want to try new things. I always want to challenge
yeah.
myself. I always want to try and grow and learn new things and stuff. And it's great, but it also it's also so many things. There's so
Right,
many things, you know.
right.
So I'm pretty much open to anything, you know, that would come my way that I would be able to step into, like, 'cause I wanna try it all, you know?
Yeah,
Like, growing up, like, I had these lists of things I wanted to do. Like,
yeah,
I had such a long list, you know? I was like, "I can never do all of these things in my life." But I'm
yeah.
like, "If I'm a voice actor, if I'm an actor, I can pseudo do them," you know? Like,
Right.
so it's interesting because yeah, as an actor
Yeah,
and a voice actor, you can become different things and you get to experience different things and try new things as these characters, and so I
right.
really enjoy that aspect of acting.
How do you especially if you're doing that where you're doing where you when you are able to focus on one character, um, how do you get into the character then like kind of find that, their voice or
Yeah.
their, that style?
Um, so, like, for Vana in the Sithra podcast, I thought it was really cool that we had the comic to look at,
Oh yeah,
and that, you know,
definitely
like,
helps.
I was able to look at the visual of her and be like, "Okay, like, this is what she's looking like,
Right.
and this is her line, and how do I make you know, how do I bring those together?" And
Yeah.
so that was super helpful for that. Um, honestly, I haven't done a ton with just single characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
most of it has been, like, multiple characters, but,
What about like your character in the randoms?
mhm.
Did you do anything to get, or
Not
you
a
just
ton, like,
kind of?
'cause her backstory, like, and who she is as a personality is very, very similar to who I am. So I was like,
Right.
"Oh, this could be really easy," like, to be able to
Yeah.
step into that, you know, and, like so I was like, "Okay." So that one's not very hard at all
Yeah.
because I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's just me, but with superpowers. So
Yeah.
sweet." You know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just trying to, like, you know, think about what they're going through and, like, yeah, just to experience their emotions and what they're feeling, you know? Um, so whenever I record for just a single character, I do read through their lines before I record, as
Right.
opposed to audiobooks, I do it when I'm recording. Um, and I like to I'll do it out loud, obviously, and, just try it different ways
Yeah.
and, like, you know, be like, "Okay, what fits or what doesn't fit," you know, and, like, try and get into character that way by just going over what they have to say. And I feel like
Right.
a lot of that is the way that I do that is because of that I've been in theater, and that's how I
Mhm.
would do it for theater, you know?
Right.
Is just rehearse the lines because you gotta memorize them for
Right.
theater. Um, and just, yeah, try different things out and see
Do you
what
do you
fits.
do you ever suggest other lines or just accidentally, spontaneously do something different because you're like in the character, or you just, or you're pretty?
Sometimes, but I'm usually like I've just it's been like ingrained into my head basically like you
Yeah.
follow the script. Cuz
Yeah.
especially doing so many audiobooks, it's like if you don't follow it,
Oh
they
yeah.
tell you and you have to go back and fix it, you know?
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like you want to get it right. So sometimes I feel like I do that, but
Yeah.
not very often.
Yeah.
Um and I feel like if I did more single character stuff, I would probably grow in that way,
Yeah.
that I would add more, you know? But because I do so many audiobooks, yeah, it's just second nature to be like, "Yep, you stick to the script and that's how it
Yeah.
is," and yeah.
Well, and I didn't know too,
But
as like as an author yourself too, if you're like, well, I would want them to do what I wrote,
mhm.
but
Right, right. Oh, yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, but I mean, definitely, I mean, one of the things that that I've seen and that I've tried to apply with like my stuff is that like I know my weaknesses as far as like if I'm seeing the whole like I know that I am not gonna be even though like if I was writing your character like I'm not gonna be as invested in your character as you are because I have to you know juggle all the different characters
Mhm.
that are in it and I have to and even if like I love them all and different things like I mean you're still like you're focused on your
Mhm.
character and really getting making it as true to like who they are and stuff like that too that yeah that's like why I've tried to especially when I feel like it is somebody when it's yes if it's a newer person who may have some skills at acting but they really haven't done much of it then yeah I may want to direct them more but like with like you and like other people who have done a lot of acting and stuff like I'm very much like okay so when you know like this guy or this girl or whatever it's like do you like what do you think they would how would they phrase it or how would they
Mhm.
like because I know what I'm thinking but you know I don't know. And sometimes, I mean, a
Mhm.
lot of times I'm pretty on because I am trying to really think about them. And you know how it is like when you're a writer, you do start to hear all their voices and all this stuff and you know how the, you know, and you
Mhm.
kind of you can do that, but it's like you said. I mean, it's like when you can just focus on one character, it's very different. It's like just a kind
Mhm.
of a different level that you're able to and you can just stay in that world and kind of marinate in it or whatever rather than bounce,
Mhm.
bounce, 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 you know,
Yeah, yeah.
going to all the different stuff. But I mean, but I've heard some of her stuff too, and I mean, I mean, she does a great job at it. It's not, which I've thought for a lot of voice actors and people that narrate a lot of books. I'm like, man, that's got to be really hard to sit there and bounce between all those different characters, and it's like yeah, that's got to be. I don't know. Like, I feel like that there's not a lot of in between on that. Like I feel like there are people who are like great at it, and then people who aren't very good. Like it doesn't seem like
Mhm.
it's a very because you kind of got to sell out, and it's like you just got
Yeah.
to go for it,
Mhm.
or you I don't know, or you just kind of read everybody semi
The
similar, and
same. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah. That does tend to be the case. Yeah, there's like the range. You either do all the voices or you do
yeah.
them all the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So okay, cool. Is there anything else you wanted to share about the graphic novel, or do you have? Is there going to be a season 3 of the podcast?
There will be a season 3 of the podcast. Yep. I right now I feel like there's going to be 4 okay. Probably 5 to 6 seasons, maybe?
Yeah,
Uh, I'm not 100% sure because I'm just kind of letting this story happen and I don't
right,
have a plan. Well, I do okay, I have a plan, but I don't have like it has to be this long and that's it kind of
right,
deal. Um so yep, season 3 is definitely happening and there will definitely be a season 4 because it's not going to resolve itself in season 3. So there will at least be 4 seasons, but probably 5 or 6. Um I have not started to write that yet, but I pretty much know it's gonna happen. So when I do, it should be pretty quick to get it written. Um, yeah, and then we're actually gonna start every season, we're gonna start running probably a GoFundMe because we're not gonna run like a Kickstarter that has rewards. But
right,
I do need like I love that I can do this and that I've been able to do this for 2 seasons, but because this podcast doesn't put anything back in my
right.
pocket, which I hate making things about money, but unfortunately you have to have money to
Yeah,
keep doing projects, you know?
it's the
And it's like
reality.
we just bought a house and like we only have one car and we're gonna need another one soon and you know, all these things piling up. Um, so we're just gonna run a GoFundMe and like probably be like 1K or whatever for every season just to cover the cost of the scripts, to
Right,
cover like the hosting site cost every month and you know any sound effects I need to purchase or whatever and stuff like that. So we'll probably do that just so that it can help take a little bit of the pressure off of me to be like, okay, I have to have all this money budgeted somewhere and it has to come from somewhere, and
Yeah.
um
Well, it helps
so
with equipment and
yeah.
stuff like that too that people don't think of. Like if you
Mhm.
need a new mic or new mic cord or whatever.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, I know my
So
computer is pretty old. I'm like, I just hope it doesn't go out. Like, oh, I can't afford that. But it's been good for a while. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um yeah, so that's gonna happen. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the Kickstarter. I don't think so.
Are you pretty much focused on this, or do you have any other projects coming up that you wanted to
So
mention?
like I mentioned, my Beak the Barn Cat book, the fifth one, is coming out in May. So I am focusing on I so for the collection, which is all 5 books together, I'm doing it. It's gonna be the illustrations are all gonna be colored. So I had
Oh,
this
cool.
brainwave when I was doing book 4. So all of book 4's illustrations are already colored. But book 1 through 3, I have to go back and color them, and I have to do all the illustrations for book 5 as well. So I've been working on that, and that's just it's a lot. But it's going well. Book 3 is finished. I'm working on book 2. I'm almost done with book 2's. And then I have to. So my cousin actually illustrated book 1 for me.
Oh,
But
cool.
then she went to college and got super busy, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna learn how to illustrate. And so I have illustrated the rest of them. So I have to do new illustrations for book 1 for the collection and color them, and then do all the illustrations for book 5 still. So I'm working on that, and then I'm working on Nemo the lad as well, slowly. Yeah, so I'm trying. It's just like,
Uh,
yeah, it's a process. So I'm working on that, and
yeah.
then I have another younger kids middle grade chapter book called Super Pine Cones that I'm writing because my 3 second cousins asked me to write it for them, so I'm writing that.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, well, I have a million projects, so I could probably just keep talking
Yeah, I
forever,
know, I
but
know.
uh, currently that's what I'm like specifically working on.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, I hope the Kickstarter goes well. I hope people will check it out. I will try to I'll try to slip some images in here, and I'll try to put like the link up and everything like that. But
Perfect. Thank
anyways,
you so much.
yeah, yeah. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. But I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. I know we could. I could let you ramble, but I won't.
Yeah,
I'll let
that's
you.
okay.
I'll let you. But anyways, yeah, thanks for being on. Definitely, are there specific places on social media that you would like people to follow you?
Yep, Facebook and Instagram are my top. I'm not on Twitter at all, so just Facebook and Instagram. I probably,
And
if
you
you want to
have,
see more of my like
yeah,
projects as they're in work or more of my daily life or stuff like that, Instagram is a good place because I post on my stories a lot.
right,
And then just Facebook is usually just like cover reveal or an update on writing or like
yeah.
more bigger project stuff. So,
And you did. She does have a Facebook group for the Ezmeer graphic novel.
hmm
So
I
yeah,
do.
you can, and which she does post pages and things and gives updates. And
hmm
so, anyways, yeah, definitely check out her stuff. Oh, and her the last name is SHAYE. Um, yeah, some people have had trouble finding it. I was never one
Yeah.
of them. But and definitely check out the Cithra podcast because she does do a
hmm
great job in that. And we have recorded quite a bit more stuff, but there's a lot of production that goes into it.
hmm
But the second and third episodes should be out sometime soon.
That's
But
exciting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so send her all your monies.
Please. No.
And yeah, I guess I will guess I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Um
Thanks so
yeah,
much.
thanks for getting on here. and not showing a cat on the screen. But
Yeah, I thought about it. She came in here. I was like, but
yeah, I know.
don't want you to like have a panic
Rude.
attack or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Hairball.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you. Definitely go and check out it. If nothing else, at least go and check it out on Kickstarter, because even just like looking at it helps with all their algorithms and things.
Mhm.
And the comic market on Kickstarter is very full and very competitive. So every little thing you can do to help out different people's things, and definitely share it with people who like epic fantasy stuff and family-friendly fantasy stuff, which there isn't a lot of out there right now.
Mhm.
So definitely share it and give the support. And sorry, I'm getting this terrible echo in my headphones.
Oh no.
Anyways, I should be able to get rid of it. But
Uh,
I'll talk to you later.
sounds good. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.